Greetings and welcome to the Waters of Healing. I am your host, Baba Lukman, here with Ray Wilkerson, the place where serious black men come to express how we feel, talk about the issues important to us in a non-judgmental and safe space. Our goal is that you find your inner king, your inner warrior, that you give up your power to nothing and no one. And helping me, I have by my side, as always, my main man, my mentor, my cousin, and co-host, Ray Wilkerson. What's going on, Ray?
What's going on? What's going on? And y'all always know I got to use my favorite line, our favorite line. Hey, Waters of Healing coming to you live all the way from here. Where's here? Right here. Thank y'all. Like everything. Look, love you, cuz you, my man. Listen, I am so excited. I am so honored and proud to be a part of this thing. You talk about me mentoring you. You just don't know how much you mentor me. And look, let's get this thing popping. Let's get this thing going.
Well, let us first begin by giving honor and thanks, as we always do, to the creator of your choice for giving us the gift of life, intelligence, and awareness. We seek the creator's guidance and help. We acknowledge our humanness and that we are imperfect beings that must rely upon the earth and each other. It is important that we develop a healthy relationship with everyone and everything around us to the best of all of our abilities. And we strive to be one who isn't in conflict with our surroundings and with each other. Our community should see us as protectors, providers, and mentors, and should never see us as the enemy.
And you got to understand, the Waters of Healing is intended to provide a safe, non-judgmental space for black men to talk about issues specific to us. This is an inclusive space open to all black males, no matter your religion, your class, your non-sexual identity, if you identify yourself as a black man, then you are welcome. You are welcome here. So let us begin by reciting the black man's affirmation. Kings are made and not born. I am developing the king in me. Warriors are made and not born. I am developing the warrior in me. I am not a coward. I believe in myself and my abilities. There is nothing wrong with me. Another person's opinion of me is not reality. My masculinity is divinely given. It is not toxic. I give up my power to no one. I realize that I am not perfect, but that is no excuse not to do my best. I love myself for who I am. I am in charge of my own happiness and behavior. I don't take advantage of those who are weaker than myself. I accept 100% responsibility for my own life. My past mistakes are there for me to learn from. They do not define who I am. I am the protector, provider, and guide of my family and my community. I am grateful for every day that I'm given to improve on who I am. I am a black man created by the Almighty. Thus, I am worthy of respect and love. No matter how hard life hits me, I will keep moving forward.
Ashe.
Shay. At this time, I need to get some housekeeping out the way before I turn it back over to my cousin. Look, this is what I need you guys to do. I need you guys to hit that like button. I need you guys to hit that share button. I need you guys to hit that subscription. And also, I need you to hit that notification so you know when we're out here. So now I'm going to turn it back over to my cousin, Baba Lukman.
Yes. Thank you, cuz. And look, I was just thinking as you was reading those affirmations, I said, man, what a life-changing thing that would do for all of us, because affirmations is not just meant for us to just recite those when we do our show. The affirmations is meant so that this is what we should wake up doing. Like, I wake up in the morning, and one part of my day begins with reciting these affirmations to myself. And as you know, that we strive to build the inner king, because kings are made, they're not born. And warriors are made and they're not and not born. So I recite those affirmations every day. And when one of the things, Ray, is that the topic of the show, as we know, is what causes men problems early on in life. And we're going to get in that. But I was just thinking and this will tie into my topic when we get back, is if we were to take young black boys from out the womb when they're able to understand, and imagine if we was to recite those affirmations to them in their households, if the affirmation was recited in the places that they go to school at, in their religious communities. I mean, if imagine the power that we in the black community could have if our young boys had these values instilled in them and growing up as men. But when we come back, we will discuss some of the obstacles that many men had to deal with in their formative years. Now, there's going to be a warning here. There is going to be some language and some discussion that may be offensive to others. There may be some terms that may be offensive to others. But we are here to heal from our collective trauma. So everyone isn't going to understand how we as black men do that, and that is not our problem. We are here to heal. And thank you for joining us. This is the Waters of Healing. We'll be right back. We are back. There are many obstacles which black boys face, especially in the formative years. One of those obstacles is the family unit we are born into, or the family units we may find ourselves in, like foster care, or at one time they were orphanages. But whatever family unit that we find ourselves in, as that young boys find themselves in, we ask these questions: what do children need for healthy development? Who is responsible to provide what that child needs to develop healthily? And what happens when our primary caregivers, whoever they may be, fail in that responsibility? Well, right now, I would like for you to view a clip which was making the rounds on social media not too long ago, but it really, really highlights so much of what we wanted to talk about today. So we're gonna this is a clip from the program Iyanla Fixed My Life, where Iyanla Van Zant confronts a mother for the way she treats her responsible son. So let's check it out.
I have only known this young man 24 hours, and there's no way in the world, just reading his space, that I know he's going to allow a man to abuse a woman in his presence.
She doesn't think about me that way. She doesn't.
Well,
because I
then
just
you
saw
don't
him
need to
playing
be
basketball and going on dates
so
together.
what?
And
Mind your business. You say that you don't see the man that your son is. So I'm asking you, since this is not a demonstration of a man, you need to tell me what man you're using to measure him with. Which one?
my idea.
Which is your idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that the idea you trained him up to be?
No.
Oh. So how in the blazing bejesus are you holding him accountable to a standard that you didn't teach him, his father didn't give him, he don't even know what it is, and yet as his mother, you sit in his face and tell him you don't respect him as a man? Tell me how that works. Help me.
Like I said, it was events. It wasn't just.
I'm talking
And
about
it's
one
also
thing.
how he treats me.
Yeah, but I'm
doesn't
talking.
respect me
Hello.
as a mom, and so-
You see, you are a provocative victim. You provoke stuff, and then when you start being held accountable for it, then you start twisting and turning and making the other person wrong. Look at me, Ma. Look at me. Look at me. You just sat here and told your son, who ain't got a needle in his arm, who I'm assuming pays his own rent. He's married to a registered nurse. He's got 3 baby boys. And you just sat here in his face and said, I don't respect him as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think to consider what that does to his heart, to his soul, to his spirit.
I'm sure that's hurtful.
And you okay with that?
And it's hurtful for the things that he says.
But there you go. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. I'm
like,
holding you accountable, and you spinning. You're spinning your web. You're trying to get away. You're trying to get away. Tell me. Just here's the question. Just answer it. We'll get back to that other stuff later. Tell me.
Forgive me. I respect him. He's a wonderful man.
Do you understand that your mouth, your voice, your words are connected to the coils in his heart, to the valves in his heart? He can't help but love you. And every time you dishonor that love, you chip a piece of it, chip a piece of it. This is why in our culture as Black people, when the boys turn a certain age, the men come and get him and take him away from the mother because she can emotionally manipulate him. But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
Man, I mean, what a powerful video, and what so many lessons to learn in that video. I tell you, Ray, I was becoming quite emotional listening to that, to Ayanna and that video and that exchange there, and watching the hurt in that young man's face, because I was that young man. My my mother passed, but I remember feeling the same way that this young man was feeling, because my mother, as wonderful as a mother as she was in a lot of areas, she did not have a lot of confidence in my ability as a man. And I can say that because this was said to me by by a member of our family. So I that really was something that really struck home to me. And so these are some of the points that I saw, Ray, from this video, man. And you can see that her attitude was just, she's not even aware the damage that she's inflicting on this young man. I mean, anyway, so some of the points that I got out of this video, Ray, was, that again, her attitude, man, is like she didn't even recognize the type of harm she was doing to her son. When Ayanna said to her, do you know what your words are doing to him? I mean, the way that she responded was, well, I imagine that it's hurtful, but she immediately put it back on her. But it's hurtful to me, and I'm so glad that Ayanna did not let her get away with that. That type of deflection. And you see, with a young man, we're no man, no person, but we're dealing with men here. No man who is doing the right thing should have to look down to the ground and feel dejected because he can't be appreciated by the one that brought him into this world. His first teacher. Our mothers are our first teacher. So I noticed that, and I noticed how it just wasn't getting through to her, man, that she's damaging this young man. A young man who, in spite of, because it's not the first time of course, she's been doing this to this young man, and I know this by experience. She was chipping away at this young man's self-esteem and spirit, probably ever since, man, that he was able to understand what was going on. And in spite of all that, he still made something out of himself. He still became a responsible young man, and she still won't give him credit for that. I also noticed, Ray, that she's comfortable playing the role of the victim. And that was something that Ayanna got on her about too. Every time, here it is, Ayanna is supposed to be dealing with the son's issue in their relationship, but she's not making it about the relationship. She's making it about her. And I found that, something that is very common amongst a lot of our caregivers that we black boys and black men find ourselves around. She refuses to be held accountable for her actions. That's obvious. But this is the thing, Ray, that really got me. When she said something about, well, the way he treats me, he was out there playing basketball and going on dates. She was acting more like she was his woman as opposed to his mother.
Yeah.
And I've seen videos on YouTube, man, before I saw this video, where even black women, there seems to be this attachment, an unhealthy attachment, which is why so many of our young men wind up growing up to be immature, indecisive, emotional, and a whole lot of other things, man, because of this dynamic of what I consider an unhealthy relationship with between the sons and the mothers, and we'll get into that. But again, and I'll repeat this again, man. I mean, it just hurt me to see her son's body language, man. I mean, he just felt dejected, and Ray, we all been there, man. To the point where it's like, dang, man, what do I got to do? You know what I mean? I'm trying to show my mother, man, that the woman that I'm with, the nurse. I'm trying to show that I'm responsible to this woman. I'm trying to show that I'm coming over here taking care of my mama. I'm trying to show that I'm here for my mama. But mama wants son for herself, man. She's jealous of that young man's relationship. And so many of us have found ourselves in that predicament when mama ain't got nobody. Let's talk about it. Mama ain't got nobody. And mama been building up this stuff around her son. And the son was the de facto man of the house. Because you know how that is in our community, Ray. You the man of the house. You the man of the house. Don't no man. This was told to me. Let me keep it on myself. This was told to me. You the man of the house. Can't no man come in here and be over you. Now my mother told me that. Now I'm saying, like, I didn't understand it then, Ray. But I'm saying to myself, like, wow, that's giving me a lot of authority, man, as a preteen and a teenager. No wonder these guys was coming in the house and didn't like me. And my mother would tell him, my son's the man in the house. Well, if I was a man, I wouldn't stay around for that either. And I guarantee you, you know what I mean? And I guarantee you, whoever this boy's father was and all the relationships that she had, they probably ain't stay around because of this either. So anyway, I spoke enough. Ray, what did you get out of this, man?
Well, let's watch this. So I did a survey amongst men. I asked the question, what is the number one problem we need to solve in our life? I had 30 responses. One of the responses was this: abusive attacks we receive from our mothers.
Wow.
So yeah. This is coming from a plethora, a multitude of men. I think it was over 100. Well, about 300 people saw the feed, but everybody, when they put out certain things, everybody would say yes, 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 and that received a lot of yeses.
Oh, Ray, I'm sorry for interrupting. So you're telling us that out of these men that were surveyed, a large majority of them are saying that one of their biggest issues was the relationship with their own mother.
With the relationship with their own mother.
Wow.
Now watch this. That tied into grown men behaving like teenagers. But let's go back to what I saw in it. So in Proverbs 31, and everybody in the Bible talks about Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman, and everybody thinks it's a description of how a woman is supposed to be and all that. But actually, this is the reality. It's a mother telling her son, describing a woman. And one of the things that she says, that this woman can destroy nations. That means she can break a man down to the point where he doesn't recreate or bring in everything that's out of him that comes behind him. Meaning that his sons will be weak, his sons and daughters, everything that he tries to touch and create will be weak.
Wow.
Will be destroyed. by the presence of what a woman can do. She was letting him know there are women out there that will try to tear you down, that will take you out, that will do things that will cause you not to leave a legacy, a heritage, or anything because of what she can possess, the power that she can have over you. When I look at this lady, we got to do, and I always like to do. I really would like to know if they grew up it was just him, her, and her son.
Yeah, how about that? Well, yeah, just the mother and son. I know what you mean.
Because it seems to me, like you said, she's treating him like he's the boyfriend.
Yes, exactly.
The boyfriend that hurt her.
Right.
Or the boyfriends that hurt her. Because when I look at her, I can tell you now, she probably grew up thinking she was all that. She was good looking. She had all the things. She had all the boys. And every time she didn't realize she was getting played every time she was in a relationship.
Right.
So
and here this young man, Ray, is bearing the brunt of all that, man.
Getting it all. I'm gonna say that, and then watch this. And any relationship that she had with a man, 95% of the issues that she had with that new man is not based on that new man. It's based on what she remembered that old man did to her.
So this is the baggage we're talking about.
That's the baggage we're talking about. Now with this young kid, right? So here's the thing that he's going to have to deal with. Women like her that he's going to be gravitated to, his girlfriend and wives acting like his mom.
Man, say that again, bro, because I got a story for you about that when you finish up. But I got a story about that.
Yeah, you know, so many times we as men, and this is this is what I'm getting out the video. So now he's going to have to every relationship that he has, that he's going to be reminded every time he get a negative connotation or a negative thought or something negative towards him that's pertaining to his manhood. It's going to remind him of his mom, and then he's going to have a little resentment with that woman, not realizing what she's doing. But she does. Know many times how we can explain, okay, I hear him now explaining to his wife, look, I'm not your son. I'm a grown man.
Right.
This is the after effect of what his mom is doing to him and his relationships as he gets older. Totally tore down, beat down. You know, no matter what he does, doesn't feel like he's man enough to do anything.
And you know what really got me, Ray, in that video was that when she was confronted, when Ayana confronted her, because she's saying that this young man is not a man, and Ayana said, "Okay, so who are you comparing him to?" She said, "My own idea."
Her own idea of what her Prince Charming is supposed to look like.
Wow.
That she never even met.
Wow.
She never even met this idea, because if she met this idea, then it wouldn't be an idea no more.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So this young man and other man, listen. I shared it, and this is just something that was laid in my spirit. So these young boys are getting torn down by these women. Now I'm not saying this is it's my speculation. Tore down by these women, tear down. And they're hearing them. They don't need no man. I don't need no man. All the men ain't nothing. You like this and that, like that. So here we have a young boy, and that'll happen to everybody. But here we have a young kid saying, "Well, darn, if my mom don't want me, what woman really wants me? And if all these women are treating me like my wife, why do I keep messing with women?"
Wow.
Say loud.
How much, and one of the things that keep coming through my head about that, because we were talking about the ripple effect of this trauma, right? Because it's definitely trauma. I mean, it's like the common denominator that I see in this, Ray, that is the absence of that male figure. I mean, not the kid, maybe his father or some other responsible male figure to offset that type of, I mean, maybe I might be a little overboard because, you know, like I said, there's trauma. But that's a pathology there, man. When you give birth to you give birth to a human being, and that child's from you. That's part of you. And so we are endowed by nature to want to take care of that which comes from us. That's your natural instinct to protect what comes from you, to nurture what comes from you, and to make sure that you take care of your offspring. Now, to me, it's pathological, man, to bring something in this world that's from you, and it's anti-natural. So instead, it's like, I'm going to tear you down. Well, I'll get to that after the break. But my question to you, Ray, is this: it's like, what could have, if there was, because the fact that she didn't have an idea of what she thought that a man was. I mean, it was just her idea. No man, that mama's by herself because no man could compete with the idea. You feel me? So it's like, do you think that, say if Papa did hang around, right? He was able to get through that madness. Or some other brother stayed around. Would she would have been as pathological is my thing. Could have shielded this young man from, as you were saying earlier, from these abuses and darts? Because that's abuse, man. Let's face it. That's abuse. And the problem that I have, that when men bring this stuff up, the problem that I have is that when men bring this stuff up, is automatically taken as an attack on women. But men don't have kids. Men don't give birth to kids. Men aren't the first caregivers. Men aren't the first teachers. So but that, so that's why. Anyway, because like I said, man, this hits me on a personal level. So anyway, Ray, let me ask you, man, what could Papa could have shielded him from this?
So let me just deal with straight reality. Straight reality, cuz straight reality. Looking at that woman. Ain't no man gonna be in that picture. You can't even be hypothetical. Cause listen, could nothing shield that young man from that? Listen, when you made the statement that a man should be able to take over at a certain particular time, right? But guess what? Ain't no man gonna stay around long enough to have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not with what I was looking at. So the reality here is not that it couldn't happen. It based on that, it wasn't going to happen. Right. It wasn't nothing any man could have did coming in a relationship with this young lady to be able to protect that young man, to make him a man. Because guess what? Every time, listen, I guarantee you, listen, and I'm not promoting this, but from what that woman can actually send a man to the point where one day he come in and the next thing you know, he's smacking her in the face. I'm just keeping it real.
Well, look. And I'm glad you're keeping it real because I've seen that happen. And I've known guys who have done that. You know what I mean? I've known guys who had grew up in households like that in Camden, New Jersey, that was the victim of such abuses, and when they got old enough, I guess they felt to fight back. Then nobody was spared, man. You know what I mean? Nobody was spared when they lashed out. And I'm glad that you use the phrase "keeping it real," man, because that this is something, man, in our community. It's just like other issues in our community, Ray, like sexual assault.
Let me say something real. Let me say something real quick because I don't mean to cut you off because I want to make sure. I just heard something spirit. No way are we advocate a man should never hit a woman.
Oh no,
but I want my listeners there because I heard something. No way, we're not advocating. We're not saying it's right for a man to hit a woman. We're just making a observation from a perspective that's a true perspective of a man who has taken all that he could take, and out of a moment of insanity, he does something that he normally wouldn't have done. I just wanted to make that clear. I'm sorry because I mean to cut you off.
No. I'm glad you did clarify that because see, this is the problem when we have these conversations. Like I said, and I agree with you. I would never ever could condone any man putting his hands on a woman. But keeping it real means that it happens, though. Like, I don't condone sexual assault, but it happens in our community more often than not. I don't condone incest, but it happens in our community. Molestation happens in our community, and if we're going to heal from it, we got to talk about it, and we can't shy away from these subjects. But yeah, I'm glad that you put that disclaimer out there, because it's true. We don't support that kind of stuff, but but I've seen. Ray, I've seen, if it didn't go to physical abuse, I witnessed men who grew up in those situations abuse their mothers with verbally. I know a guy, man. Well, he's dead now, but I remember a guy, man, who was notorious for cussing his mother out. He was older than me, and I think you probably know him too, but I'm not going to say his name. But I remember, man, that people who knew his story was talking about how bad his mother and them used to treat him and his sisters and them. And man, and I was around a couple of times. I even said something to him, where he told me to mind my damn business. But where he would cuss his mother straight out, man, call all kind of B's and this and that and the other. So, what I'm saying is, as uncomfortable as these conversations are, we got to have it, because it's this stuff that keeps us sick. You know what I'm saying?
And watch this. And I don't care what every man under the sound of my voice, and it might put guilt in us. It might not put guilt in us, but it's not a man under the sound of my voice. I have never smacked a woman. I've never, but it don't mean I didn't think it.
Oh, you got that right. You got that right.
It don't mean that it didn't get to the point where the thought was so heavy that I had to walk away, or I just had to, like, just the sheer handling, or can I say the God keeping me. Because listen, remember I said, because you can get to a point, a moment of something that you never did. And y'all, I deal with mental health. I deal with mental health clients for years.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a moment, even in a sane man's life, that it can get to the point where he makes an insane reaction.
Right, exactly.
And watch this. It comes from a thought that is building and building and building. And because we don't have platforms like this right here, where a man can come in and be honest and say, look, man, I was ready. I didn't smack my wife. We will say, man, he's not, a man should never hit a woman. We know all that, but we got to start getting honest and say, man, but I thought about it so many times. I came so close to doing this thing. Thank God that God kept me. But listen, I don't know how many more times I could just keep, taking this for the rest of my life. To be constrained, but thank God he can constrain us. But at the same time, it's just that thought, man, that thought, and the fact that I'm thinking that, does that make me feel less than a man? And sometimes make me feel guilty, because the first thing we say, only soft men, only punks hit women. So am I thinking like a punk?
Right. When I hear you say that, and I'm thinking about these platforms, man, and why we, because we're just now, Ray, starting to even deal with, we're going to deal with this on a later show, but the sexual abuse of black boys by black women. You know what I mean? The sexual abuses of black boys that is just now being talked about. It was never talked about, but it's just now being talked about, how much molestation that a lot of black boys got from the women in their families. Or who were connected to their families.
Auntie.
What was that movie that came out with the guy that was in the Navy? Can't remember but the scenes that they showed where the girl who was babysitting him used to molest him and his brother, but I think mainly him. But Avon, anyway, it'll come to me. But that movie there, Antoine Fisher. That's what yeah. So they dealt with that topic, but man, this we just now starting to talk about the molestation of black boys, which was a topic, man, that wasn't even discussed or that was ignored, and like you were saying about the mental health of black boys, and because there were no outlets, there were some brave people that tried to do it, but every time we try to talk about how black men feel, or every time we try to talk about the trauma in black men, it was automatically shut down because our conversations were always being co-opted and taken to and twisted for it to mean either it's attack against black women or is this or that. No, instead of having the space where we can heal ourselves. But anyway, we're gonna take another break, and our last break, and when we come back, Ray, we're gonna finish discussing this topic, man, and finish, and what when we come back, Ray, what do you think? And because I think you tied into this a little bit, but what do you think would be the ways of men who have been in these toxic relationships with their mothers? What is the way they can heal from that? And we're gonna talk about that when we get right back. Okay, we're back. So Ray, again, man, I'm gonna toss that ball to you, man. All right, so we kind of laid out a lot of the, as best as we could in the little time we got about and dealing with this video and the toxic relationships that a lot of boys find themselves in, and you brought up the thing that a lot of men find themselves in with women in their lives, these toxic relationships. We talk about toxic masculinity, but we don't ever talk about toxic femininity. We never talk about the type of trauma, man, that affects men in the way when the trauma is coming from the ones that from the woman that you love, whether it's your mother, your sisters, or your aunties, or even that special woman that you have a very intimate relationship with. So Ray, and with this young man, right? Say you what would you advise men who are being faced with toxic relations like that?
Okay, but before I just want to chime off of something before the break and then go right into that, because a person had my auntie molested me. Well, I didn't know it was molestation at the time. She had doing sexual stuff, but as a boy, a little boy, right? I didn't view that as molestation.
Mm. Yeah, you're right.
Listen, not until I got into my 40s or 50s did I realized, oh, I was molested.
Wow.
So in that type of scenario, little boys and older women, it's not looked at as molestation. It's just a rite of passage of going into manhood.
That we would never say if it was reversed. That we would never say that it was reversed, and rightfully so, we wouldn't say that. But you're right, black boys, because the same, I had the same experiences, and black boys who are molested don't get the same type of sympathy and compassion, or empathy, or the help and care, that black girls would get in the same situation.
And wonder why I got somebody pregnant at 13 years old. Anyway, okay, just threw that out there. First of all, platforms like this bringing young and old people together, because I really can't have I really don't have a solution, because I wasn't in that type of situation growing up. But I was in. It's funny. I was in relationships that was like that
Right.
growing up. Okay, so platforms like this, and the only way that we really can, I mean, for me, the only way that I feel that it helped me, I got to just get around people who went through the same stuff I went through to be
That's
able
it.
to actually be able to actually first writing. And I always tell people this all the time because it worked for me. Just start writing about don't worry about punctuation, don't worry about spelling. Just start writing everything, everything. And what that does is it gets it out of you.
Mm,
I just start writing. When I was in rehab, I just start writing. And it felt good just getting it out of me. And that's the
right.
first thing we got to do. We have to if we can just get it on paper and get it out of us, which then will allow us to talk to somebody about that, and everybody's experiences. And then there has to be some openness with elders and younger folk. Elders have to remember when they were at that age, right? And how they were living at that time to identify with the young person. And then the young person have to identify with the elder at his age that he can give us the pathway to get out. The problem I see a lot of times, so a lot of times when I share with younger people about certain things, I say I'm going to come from two different perspectives. First, I'm going to come from a perspective at your age. Then I'm going to give you a perspective from my age, because most of the time, older baby boomers or older people, we only give the young people perspectives from where we're at now, which
Right.
they
Right.
can't identify with. We need to first be able to identify where they're at with their feelings, where their feelings at and where my feelings was at the same time period. This is how I felt. I understand. And when, watch this, I don't have to say I understand, or the young person, I don't have to say I understand how you feel to a person. When
Mm,
I start telling them my story, they know I know how they felt. We need to start identifying with feelings. You know what? What's the phrase? I feel you.
right. Right.
When I can talk to a young person and they can feel my pain based on their pain, then they're listening. And then the questions is coming. Well, how did you get out of that pain? Then I can give them from a perspective of how I got to this place. And the reality is, it doesn't happen overnight. But the progression is that I'm still going to feel pain, but look, this is the timetable. This is what we're trying to get to. We're just trying to decrease it a little bit at a time. It's always going to cause a feeling in us, but how long it makes us feel is what we're trying to work on to decrease.
Man, that's powerful, bro. Basically, man, that's along the same lines that I was going, because I had similar experiences, man. I've shared this before, man. My mother's best friend molested me, man, and and it was that, again, like you said, man. It was like, it wasn't treated the same way. I didn't know that was molestation. I just thought, that I was being a man. I thought that was my idea of being a man, that I bagged this older woman. You know what I mean? That was my idea of being a man. But it did, and I heard in what you said that, and it did the same thing in me. It made me hypersexual. So now I can't even have a decent relationship with any girl my age because I'm already experienced. So so here I am, trying to date a girl and stuff, and my mind goes straight to sex, and so the girls that I was dating and stuff, man, they was like, man, you moving too fast. Well, hey, look, I'm being trained by these older women, man. That's my mom's age, or a little younger, but that's a problem, not to be able to develop in the way that you were intended to develop, man, without all of those outside things. Um, in respect to my mom, man, that I brought up at the beginning of the program, when my mother, when the family member, pardon me, when the family member expressed to me that my mother felt that I was a punk, right? And I remember that conversation, because now here it is. I was upset because I was like, my mom must really don't know me. You know, she knows the side of me that like books, that like the documentaries, the nerdy side. And I think that's all she saw me as. She didn't see what I was doing out in the street or and how I was handling myself out in the street. But she just was like, you know, well, this is who he is. And so she came up and painted this picture of me of some weak ass, punk ass person that she didn't have any respect for. So when the family member told me that took me out. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Does she know that I'm one of the main ones that's in that's in all this stuff out in the streets of Camden? And you know, and not that that's something to brag about, but she surely did not know that side of me. And you know, and so it was like, wow. But it hurt me, Ray, because just like that young man, because I was like, man, my mom think of me like this. Like you know, and it started to really, man. I remember going through a depression and going through this period, man, of having low self esteem. Um, um, when I got with my first wife, my children's mother, I remember, man, feeling so inadequate. You know, where I didn't, you know, I had some feelings like that, but it didn't really started to really get magnified, man, until really after that conversation. And so I kind of even blame me going to prison for that because I had to prove that I wasn't what my mother thought I was. So now I'm in the streets doing stuff, man, that wind up leading me to get a prison bid because, oh no, I ain't no chump. I ain't know this, I ain't know that. And now I'm going out trying to prove it now, you know, and that hurts myself. And so you had said something earlier about so many of our young men in these relationships that don't have any way to express their feelings and how they feel. And so we know so many young brothers, man, who go out there and they like, you know what, they get hooked up and this hyper masculinity comes in and then they do all of this stuff to prove that they, value. One of the things in our community, Ray, that is something that we really got to deal with is black boys not feeling valued, man. And we seen a perfect example in that video clip of how the one that brought you into the world, and you know, and see, I'll end with this before I toss the ball back to you. But Ayana said something, man, that made me like it was a powerful statement. She brought up our culture. She said that's why the men used to come and get the boy from the mother. You know, because the most important relationship that you would have with any woman is your mom. You know, but what if that relationship, man, goes, you know, that relationship goes toxic? And so you mentioned something earlier about destroying nations, and then so now you got these, you know, these boys growing up who can't be good boyfriends, they can't be good fathers, they can't be good husbands, and none of that stuff. Where do all that come from? You know, so I know the way I dealt with it is that I had to rebuild my self-esteem, and it took a long time, Ray. I mean, it took me a long time of stumbling into the drugs and stumbling into this and stumbling into that to basically find my way back home to where I got comfortable, where I started to start to be secure once again in my own manhood, in my own personhood, you know, being secure of my weaknesses and my strengths and accept everything about me, even the past, the mistakes, all that stuff, you know. And the most important thing I would say, to forgive my mother for what she said, because, you know, it's like clearly she did not really know that side of me. You know, clearly she didn't really know me, even though I'm her son. She didn't really know me like she thought she did. And so I had to get the resentments out of my heart for her. You know? So I don't know, man.
See, and it's funny because my mom was like, she was kind of like the opposite. She thought she just thought I was ornery, right? But her thing always was always focusing on you shouldn't be around that person. She was dissecting my friends and saying which ones, okay, he's good, he's bad. If you follow this one, this is what's going to happen. If you follow that one, this was going. And
Right.
that was her whole makeup. The whole because I remember I was real young, and I remember, and this was just a natural instinct. The one time I only seen her had a boyfriend in the house, and he was getting very abusive. Now I'm like, I think I was 5 or 6 years old, like that, and I would not leave because I was supposed to go to school. I would not leave because I needed to protect my mom.
Right.
And, and she told me to leave anyway. But I always remember that day. And I said to myself, as I get older, and I told my mom, I said, I will hurt anybody that puts your hands on you. Do you know from that day on, she brought me in the house, but she never had a man live with us.
Right.
And never had a man over the house when I was home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something.
So my experience it was so much, and it still was a tearing down because what she was saying is my judgment of people is jacked up.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm saying, oh no, he all right. But so this whole thing right now, and and I got to say this real quick in turn of there's this guy on YouTube now, Kevin Samuel, right?
Oh yeah, everybody's been talking about this cat lately.
This dude. So I look at this dude. Now I got to be honest. This dude says what men want to say to women.
I would give you that. Yep.
Listen. So our young men nowadays. Look, my nephew. Watch this. My nephew making money. All that stuff. I said, well, Neff, where's your girlfriend? He said, he said, man, these girls ain't nothing but full of drama. He said, I can't mess with none of them right now because they ain't about nothing.
Like, sound like my son. My son said the same thing.
He said, yeah. So it's almost like they're waking up that they're not gonna voluntarily get into something that's going to be abusive or causing a lot of drama in their life now. They're actually waking up to this abusive stuff that women, that their moms have done to them, and they're like, hold on, enough's enough. I'm not dealing with this no more because I know where it could take me. Right. So they watch this. They got this full picture. I ain't trying to go to jail. I ain't trying to hit nobody, and it's just too much stress.
And a lot of them also are saying that they don't want to deal with a whole bunch of kids by other men. Yeah. Especially if they're in a certain financial position. They don't want to have to be dealing with a bunch of kids that fathered by other men because they have options. They don't have to do it. They have options. But I wanted to say this, Ray, before we close, is and this is basically to our audience. Waters of Healing. We have a Facebook page. And so if you feel that if you want to contact Ray or myself, if you want to ask questions, if you got comments, anything, we accept them all. You go to our Facebook page, The Waters of Healing, and there's just go to the messages and give us some feedback on what you feel. If you're a man that's looking to heal. Ray and I are not qualified clinicians, even though Ray does deal with people in the mental health field. But what we can do is refer you to people who are qualified to do that. So and whatever you share with Ray and myself is confidential. So so that whatever you share with us stays with us. So if again, go to our Facebook page. And you just go to the messages if you want to contact Ray or myself. So we're at the end of our program, and we would like to thank our producer Jacqueline. Yep.
Can I say something real quick?
I was about ready to pass it over to you.
Listen, I gotta say this. All y'all out there that's listening to my voice. And this might be out of character, but Lukman Media LLC.
Yes.
With my cousins, right? But I know who the brain behind this operation is. It's both of them. It's equally. Putting the music and the graphics together. They did a promo for me. Listen, it went viral.
Wow.
So tap into us. Lukman Media LLC. You can also put that in our Waters of Healing. If you have some comments, we'll be more than likely to be happy to get all that. But listen, I want to leave y'all with this. My ability to conquer my challenges is limitless. My potential to success is infinite. Go ahead, cuz. Take them out.
Well, hey, look, man, this has been really something, man. I enjoyed this discussion. I hope you guys out there in the Waters of Healing world that you enjoyed this too. Look. We're all trying to do this thing a day at a time. We're all trying to get better a day at a time. And we're going to do this together. We're doing this together. Black men, you have the right to have the same to get the best quality, to have the best quality of life that everybody else has. You have the right to be understood, to be taken seriously, to be loved, to be honored. You have the right to all of those things. You have a right to be free. You have a right to be safe. You have a right to follow and pursue your dreams. You have the right as anyone else. And don't let anybody out there say that you don't have that right. So anyway, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Waters of Healing. And we would like to thank all you guys for showing up. And again, to my lovely wife, who's for her technical expertise, because I don't know how to do it. Until next time, hey Ray, look, man, love you, cuz. We're going to be doing this again. And to everybody out there, peace. And look, just try not to hurt nobody.